Have you ever found yourself surrounded by people who seem to demand everything from you without offering anything in return? Have you heard phrases like, "Do this for me," "change for me," or "don't question me"? If you haven't yet distanced yourself from such individuals, perhaps it's time to do so. This isn't about being selfish, it's about protecting what truly matters: your time, your peace, and above all, your well-being. As the Stoics taught, we must learn to say no firmly when something or someone threatens to take away what is rightfully ours. At the end of the day, your life is yours, and no one else has the right to decide it for you. So do your future self a favor: walk away from those who only seek to take advantage of you. Take note of the 9 types of people who drain your energy daily. Don't miss the last one, it will leave you speechless. But before we dive in, let me share a story that perfectly encapsulates the wisdom behind this message. At the Wisdom of the Ages, we believe in the transformative power of stories and reflections to turn challenges into valuable lessons. If this content resonates with you, consider subscribing and joining our journey. In a bustling market of a coastal village, there was a young artisan named Elena. Renowned for her handmade jewelry, each piece was unique and special, reflecting her dedication and love for her craft. One day, a well-dressed man with a cunning smile approached her stall. "Your jewelry is beautiful," he said, "but why don't you make it more affordable so everyone can buy it? Just use simpler materials. Also, you could give a few pieces away to your regular customers. Don't you think that would be kind?" Elena felt a knot in her stomach. She knew how much effort and creativity went into each piece. For a moment, she hesitated, wondering if the man had a point. Soon after, another woman approached her stall. With a confident air, she said, "Your talent is amazing, but you should give up on these extravagant ideas. Follow the trends instead. You'll sell more, even if it means giving up what you truly love." Elena listened, but deep down, something told her these suggestions were traps disguised as advice. That evening, as she worked under the dim light of her lamp, she remembered something her grandmother used to say: "Beware of those who try to change what you love or ask you to give up your essence. Sometimes their words aren't meant to help you but to dim your light so theirs shines brighter." The next day, when the well-dressed man returned, Elena looked him straight in the eye and said, "Thank you for your interest, but my jewelry isn't meant to please everyone, it's meant to tell a story. And that story is mine." Over time, Elena stayed true to herself. She didn't compromise on her materials or sacrifice her designs. Instead, she attracted people who valued her authenticity and artistry, allowing her light to shine even brighter. This story serves as a reminder: staying true to yourself, even when others try to sway you, is one of the most powerful acts of self-respect you can offer. Surround yourself with those who celebrate your essence, not those who try to change it. The moral of this story is simple: stand firm against those who ask you to change what you love, compromise your principles, or undervalue yourself. Distance yourself from people who seek to mold you to their convenience, because true success lies in remaining true to your essence. If you find these videos helpful, I encourage you to subscribe and activate notifications to stay updated. Let's dive into the first lesson. At the Wisdom of the Ages, our goal is to create inspiring and motivating content that helps you turn challenges into opportunities. Have you ever stopped to reflect on how people seem to demand your time without offering anything in return? Or worse, how they gradually drain your energy without you realizing it, until it's too late. They act as if your time only holds value when it's spent on them. And, of course, they always want more. By the end of it, you're left with little to no time for yourself because so many people are waiting for you to prioritize their needs over your own. But what if I told you it's time to identify these people and learn how to remove them from your life? First, let's recognize these masters of stealing your time. Their strategy is simple: they make you feel indispensable, as though your assistance is the only thing that can save the day. But when it's you who needs help, they vanish as if they were never there. Does this sound familiar? Perhaps you've encountered friends, family, or colleagues who always show up with a list of needs but never reciprocate when the tables turn. To them, everything in their life is an emergency. But when it's your turn to ask for something, they respond with silence. They are experts at controlling your time without offering you even a minute of theirs in return. If you dare to express your discomfort or ask for something back, Their response is always the same: I don't have time. As if your time holds no value while theirs is worth its weight in gold. How to identify these people? Watch their actions. They often claim to have no time to help you, yet they continuously seek your support. This inconsistency is a clear red flag. Notice vague promises. They might agree to help with a hesitant yes, but not right now, only to vanish when it's time to act. Beware of flattery. They shower you with compliments, making you feel indispensable, but when you need assistance, they leave you hanging. You become their lifeline, but they'll never go out of their way for you. What to do about them? The answer is straightforward: distance yourself. Set clear boundaries. This isn't about being unkind, it's about recognizing the value of your time. You don't have to always be the one giving, especially if all you receive in return is emptiness. Stoic philosophy teaches us that managing our time and emotions is essential for maintaining inner peace. If you don't take control of your time, there will always be people ready to exploit your generosity. Remember, your time is precious. Use it wisely, and don't let anyone else decide how you should spend it. True balance and peace begin when you prioritize yourself over those who only drain your energy. Learn to say no with a smile, to value your time, and to reserve it for those who genuinely deserve it. If someone asks for something without offering anything in return, don't hesitate to step back. Otherwise, you risk becoming a pay-per-hour resource for others. And believe me, there's nothing more draining or monotonous than that. As the Stoics would say, your time is your life. Don't waste it on those who don't value it. The most important thing is how you choose to use your time, because once it's gone, there's no getting it back. As Epictetus wisely observed, he who steals your time steals your life. Have you ever felt that a seemingly innocent request concealed a hidden agenda? That casual "do this for me, but don't ask why" might seem harmless, but it's more like an alarm disguised as a whisper. The worst part is that we often fall into the trap, convinced we're doing a selfless favor. But what if it's not always about helping someone else? As the saying goes, not everything that glitters is gold. It's easy to confuse a genuine favor with manipulation, especially when it's wrapped in a smile and softened by phrases like, "It's no big deal." If you pay close attention, you'll notice that manipulations are often subtle. Perhaps they ask for something that doesn't align with your interests or offers no benefit to you, yet they frame it so convincingly that it's hard to refuse. That "do this for me, but don't ask why" isn't just a way to avoid uncomfortable questions, it's a strategy to tie you emotionally. How to spot manipulations? Though it might seem complicated, recognizing manipulative behavior is easier than you think. Watch for these signs. Does the request benefit them far more than it benefits you? If yes, you might be dealing with manipulation. Do you feel guilty for wanting to say no? This could indicate someone is playing on your emotions. Do they rarely, if ever, reciprocate or consider your needs? Such people are often so used to getting their way that they don't expect refusal. What to do in these situations? The answer is straightforward: distance yourself. If someone asks something of you without providing a reasonable explanation, and you feel compelled to comply out of fear of being seen as a bad person, remember the wisdom of the Stoics: we cannot control what others ask of us, but we can control how we respond. Setting boundaries is not only valid, it's essential. It's an act of self-respect. If someone requests something you find inappropriate or against your principles, say no and stand your ground. Mastering the art of refusal will not only protect you from manipulation but also preserve your energy for what truly matters. Don't confuse kindness with people-pleasing. We're often taught that being considerate of others is a virtue, but being considerate of yourself is just as important. You're not obligated to please everyone. In fact, the more you try to appease others, the easier it becomes to fall into manipulators' traps. The next time someone makes a vague or guilt-laden request, take a moment to reflect. Your time, energy, and integrity are worth far more than the fleeting approval of those who don't genuinely value you. The next time someone says, "Do this for me, but don't ask why," pause and think. Reflect on whether the request genuinely aligns with your values or if you're being manipulated. Don't hesitate to say no. Your well-being should always come first. And if someone gets upset because you refused, perhaps it's time to reevaluate that relationship. As the saying goes, sometimes the greatest act of self-love is saying no when everyone expects a yes. Have you ever felt surrounded by people who seem to have the blueprint for everyone's life? Those who make you feel like you need to follow their path to fit into their vision of the world. Meanwhile, as you question whether you should change to please them, they subtly ensure you believe that you're the problem. These individuals aren't interested in your well-being or your true self. Their real aim is to control you, shaping you like clay to fit their desires. If you don't align with their narrative, they paint you as the issue. But here's the truth: no one has the right to define who you are or dictate how you should live. This is where learning to say no becomes vital. Not a hesitant or polite no, but a firm, clear, and unwavering one. The Stoics emphasize distinguishing between what you can control and what you cannot, and one thing you absolutely can control is whom you allow to influence your life. It's like ordering at a restaurant. If you don't like the ingredients in a dish, why keep ordering it? You have the right to decide what ingredients make up your life, and they should never be imposed by others. The real issue with these people is that they don't see you as whole. Instead, they view you as a project to shape and mold for their own ego. It's as if they are saying, "You're too much yourself, we need you to be more like us." But here's the key: you don't need to fit into anyone's mold. True peace lies in embracing your authenticity and being unapologetically yourself, without seeking external validation. How to distance yourself from these people? Put yourself first. Acknowledge that your well-being doesn't depend on anyone else's approval. Surround yourself with people who accept you as you are. Seek relationships that value your true self without trying to change you. Set boundaries. When someone asks you to change, respond firmly with, "Thanks, but no thanks." Life is far too short to live through someone else's lens. Never let anyone try to reshape you for their convenience. Your essence, what makes you unique, is your greatest treasure. Don't let it be taken by those who fail to appreciate its value. The Stoics understood this well. Living by your principles and resisting external pressures forms the foundation of a fulfilling life. In the end, the only thing you truly control is how you choose to live, and that power belongs to you alone. As Carl Jung wisely said, being true to yourself is the first step toward freedom. 4. Don't tell this to anyone. Secrets, those whispers cloaked in a veil of trust, can often be more toxic than they initially appear. Has anyone ever said to you, "Don't tell anyone, this is just between us"? At first, it might seem harmless, a friendly request to keep something private. But over time, you may realize that this seemingly innocent phrase is a direct ticket to emotional isolation. Toxic secrets, though they may start small, have a way of eroding your mental peace little by little. Today, we'll discuss how to navigate such situations with Stoic wisdom, embracing calmness and clarity. Imagine this: you're having coffee with someone who seems to know all the gossip in the neighborhood. Suddenly, they lean in and say, "This is just between us, okay?" Naturally, you agree. It's hard to say no to such a polite request. But later, you realize they're not just asking you to keep a secret, they're roping you into their emotional labyrinth. That phrase, "just between us," plants a seed that grows into discomfort, emotional distance, and a sense of entrapment. At first, it may seem insignificant, but as time passes, this burden compounds, making you feel weighed down. Why do people make such requests? Often, it's because they see no harm in turning your mind into a vault for their anxieties and uncertainties. While they move on with their lives, you're left carrying the weight of their secrets. The real question is, do you want to be part of this dynamic? This is where the wisdom of Stoic philosophy becomes invaluable. The Stoics teach us to remain composed when faced with situations beyond our control and to set boundaries that protect our well-being. If someone continually burdens you with dark or unnecessary secrets, it's a clear sign that it's time to draw a line. How can you handle these situations? Don't let yourself be pulled into discomfort. If someone asks you to keep a secret that makes you uneasy, take it as a cue to step back. This isn't about cruelty, it's about wisdom. If someone tries to make you complicit in something you don't fully understand, or worse, something that isolates you, respond with a clear and firm no. Distance yourself. Step away, not just physically but emotionally. Don't fall into the trap of believing you're indispensable in their web of secrets. Your silence isn't a sign of loyalty or friendship, it's merely fueling a toxic cycle of dependence and control. Reflect before you agree. The next time someone whispers, "This is just between us," pause and think. Do you genuinely want to be part of that us? If the request feels more like a trap than an act of trust, don't hesitate to take a step back. Protect your peace. Remember, saying no to toxic secrets is an act of self-respect, not selfishness. When someone asks you to carry a burden that doesn't align with your values or well-being, it's not only acceptable but necessary to decline. The Stoics remind us that our emotional health is worth protecting, and setting boundaries is a crucial step in maintaining inner peace. So, the next time you're tempted to say yes to a whispered request, ask yourself, is this truly an act of trust, or am I being pulled into a dynamic that doesn't serve me? As the Stoics would advise, guard your mind and emotions, for they are your most valuable assets. 5. Drop everything for me. Have you ever felt like someone is constantly asking you to drop whatever you're doing to save them from their latest existential crisis? It's as if your life is merely a supporting act in their drama, with them as the star and you cast as the ever-reliable hero. If this sounds familiar, welcome to the constant drama club, where other people's emergencies always seem to overshadow your own needs. It's tempting to step into the savior role, but does it really help you, or even them? Worse yet, have you found yourself trapped in the endless loop of drop everything and come save me? The exhaustion of constant drama. Every time you think today might be different, they reappear with a new crisis. I need your help right now. And there you are, ready to save the day, forgetting that your own day has its own priorities and challenges. Here's a crucial truth. It's not your responsibility to carry the burden of other people's dramas, no matter how close they are to you. The savior complex. The tendency to always be available for other people's problems doesn't appear out of nowhere. It's a pattern that builds over time, reinforced by your repeated willingness to step in. Without realizing it, you've become the official rescuer for those who always seem to have a new crisis. This cycle not only drains your energy but also fosters a dynamic of emotional dependency. Breaking the cycle. Acknowledge your limits. You cannot save everyone. Their well-being is not your responsibility. Prioritize yourself. Before diving headfirst into solving someone else's problems, take a moment to reflect. Are you sacrificing your own balance and peace of mind? Learn to say no. This isn't a lack of empathy, it's an act of self-care. Setting boundaries is essential for protecting your emotional and mental health. The constant drama of others doesn't have to take center stage in your life. As the Stoics taught, true peace lies in maintaining control over what you can manage, your actions, your time, and your choices. Your life is not a supporting role. Your life is yours to live, not the backdrop for someone else's endless crises. Remember, you're not obligated to star in their movie. Let them handle their own script while you focus on writing your own story. As Marcus Aurelius reflected in his Meditations, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Likewise, remember that you are not responsible for the chaos others bring into your life. Choose peace, and don't let their emergencies become your burden. 6. Don't be so sensitive. Don't be so sensitive, it's just a joke. How many times have you heard this phrase? Probably more times than you'd like to admit. But what if I told you that this seemingly harmless statement is often a red flag, a tool used by those who believe they have the right to hurt your feelings while simultaneously making you feel guilty for reacting? This phrase, wrapped in casual dismissal, hides a deeper issue. Emotional harm isn't a joke, nor should it ever be justified as one. True humor should bring laughter, foster connection, and reflect positivity. But there's something inherently troubling when someone uses humor as a veil for cruel or cutting remarks. When humor crosses the line. The problem arises when jokes serve as a cover for comments designed to belittle, humiliate, or hurt. These aren't moments of light-hearted fun, they are subtle ways of chipping away at your confidence or invalidating your emotions. What makes this worse is the gaslighting effect. If you express hurt, you're accused of being too sensitive, as though your feelings are the problem, not their words. Humor should never come at the expense of another person's dignity. It's not a license to cross boundaries or ignore basic empathy. If someone repeatedly brushes off your feelings with the excuse of just joking, it's a sign that they may not respect you as much as they claim to. How to handle hurtful humor. Acknowledge your feelings. If a comment stings, it's valid to feel hurt. Your emotions aren't overreactions, they are signals that something crossed the line. Set clear boundaries. Let them know their words were hurtful. A calm but firm response like, "I didn't find that funny, and I'd appreciate it if you didn't joke about that," can communicate your stance without escalating the situation. Observe patterns. If the behavior persists, it may indicate a deeper issue in the relationship. Respect should never feel conditional or subject to someone else's amusement. Protecting your emotional space. Stoic philosophy emphasizes the importance of guarding your inner peace and not letting external actions disrupt your sense of self. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. While you can't control what others say, you can decide how much access they have to your emotional world. Learning to navigate these situations is an act of self-preservation. It's not about shutting yourself off but about choosing not to entertain people or behaviors that undermine your well-being. Humor can be a wonderful tool for connection, but only when wielded with kindness and respect. The next time someone tells you, "Don't be so sensitive," take a moment to reflect. Is it really just a joke, or is it a masked attempt to belittle you? Remember, you're allowed to have boundaries, and you're not obligated to laugh at something that feels hurtful. As Seneca wisely said, true strength lies in knowing what to let go of and what to protect. Don't let anyone make you question the validity of your emotions. Your sensitivity is not a weakness, it's a strength that helps you understand yourself and others. Protect it, nurture it, and never let someone diminish it for the sake of a laugh. What lies behind these jokes? Let's pause for a moment and reflect. Sensitivity is not a flaw. It's a fundamental aspect of our humanity. Our ability to feel and empathize is what connects us to others. When someone dismisses your emotions with a casual, "It's just a joke," they're not only invalidating your feelings but also excusing their harmful behavior. Humor, when weaponized to hurt others, stops being humor and becomes a tool for emotional manipulation. The most troubling part? Many people cling to the belief that the emotional damage they cause is inconsequential because, in their eyes, it's just a joke. But deep down, you know better, it's not just a joke. Sensitivity is a strength, not a weakness. The ability to feel, to recognize how words and actions affect you, is a sign of emotional awareness. Sensitivity is a virtue, not a flaw. Don't let anyone make you feel too much for expressing your emotions. If something hurts you, you have every right to address it. How to handle these situations? Acknowledge your feelings. Never apologize for feeling hurt. Your emotions are valid and deserve recognition. Communicate clearly. If a joke offends you, calmly express how it made you feel. Staying composed helps maintain your dignity while setting boundaries. Set boundaries. If someone persists in using humor to hurt you, distance yourself. Your emotional well-being must come first. Words carry weight. Don't underestimate their impact, and don't allow others to do so either. As Stoic philosophy teaches, inner strength comes from staying true to your values and protecting your peace of mind. Sensitivity isn't weakness, it's the purest connection to our humanity. Recognizing manipulation behind just jokes. The ability to connect with others and understand the power of words is an essential human trait. However, when someone says, "Don't be so sensitive," what they're really communicating is their unwillingness to take responsibility for their words. They expect you to downplay your emotions to avoid confronting the consequences of their actions. Imagine someone throwing a rock at you and then saying, "Relax, it's not a big deal, it's just a game." Would you stand there waiting for them to throw another? Of course not. The fact that something is framed as a joke doesn't make it less harmful. Words have power. The truth is, words can hurt, and those who use them to belittle or mock don't deserve your time or energy. Stoic philosophy reminds us that while we cannot control what others say or do, we can control how we respond. The Stoics emphasize the importance of stepping away from what harms us, particularly from people who deliberately cause pain. If someone tries to excuse their cruelty with "it's just a joke," they're subtly inviting you to stay in a toxic dynamic. The real danger lies in allowing this behavior to continue by accepting their justification. What can you do? The answer is simple: walk away. You don't owe anyone your silence or your tolerance for unkindness. Setting boundaries isn't about being rude, it's about valuing yourself. When someone crosses the line under the guise of humor, recognize it for what it is and remove yourself from the situation. As the Stoics teach, we must focus on what we can control, our actions and reactions. Letting go of those who bring harm isn't just an act of self-preservation, it's a step toward a healthier, more peaceful life. Remember, sensitivity is a gift that allows you to connect deeply with the world. Don't let anyone diminish it or use it against you. As Marcus Aurelius once said, protect your inner self. Only let in what serves your peace. The next time someone tells you, don't be so sensitive, pause and ask yourself, is this really humor, or is it a disguised attempt to undermine me? Your sensitivity is your strength, and protecting it is your responsibility. Choose peace over conflict and kindness over cruelty. You don't need people who dismiss your emotions. Surround yourself with those who understand that humor should never come at someone else's expense. If something doesn't sit right with you, it's a clear signal to create distance. Don't let anyone use humor as an excuse to justify emotional harm. Genuine jokes leave no scars. Keep this in mind: never justify the hurt inflicted upon you under the guise of a joke. True humor brings us together and makes us laugh, it doesn't wound. Don't allow ill-intentioned words to erode your well-being. 7. Trust me. Throughout your life, you'll encounter people who ask for something as precious as your trust. Trust me, they'll say, even when their actions or words don't align with reason. And there you are, doubt swirling in your mind like a storm cloud, wondering if this time it'll be different, as if blindly following them would magically make everything fall into place. But here's the truth: those who ask for trust without offering proof or justification are inviting you into a gamble, not a wise strategy. The red flags of unfounded trust. People who demand your trust without solid reasons often lack clarity or accountability. These individuals prefer to maintain control without giving explanations, treating your trust like a toy to be played with. They might not even realize the harm they cause, disregarding how significant trust truly is. How do you spot these individuals? They ask you to follow their lead without providing any guidance or showing integrity. Their words are empty, filled with promises that drift away upon closer inspection. They expect you to suppress your instincts and ignore the warning signs, asking for blind loyalty. Imagine this. Someone says to you, "Don't worry, just do as I say." It's as if they're inviting you to sit in the passenger seat of a car without showing you whether the brakes work. Even when your instincts scream that something is wrong, they expect you to ignore those feelings. The philosophy of Stoicism reminds us to listen to our reason and avoid being swayed by baseless words. What should you do? Trust with discernment. Don't feel obligated to extend your trust without a solid foundation. True trust must be earned, not demanded. Listen to your instincts. If something feels off, trust your intuition, it's often more accurate than you think. Seek clarity. Those worthy of your trust will have no issue providing clarity or demonstrating why they deserve it. Protecting your trust. Your trust is a treasure that should only be shared with those who honor it. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, what is unclear should not be accepted as truth. Learn to distinguish between those who earn your trust through integrity and those who merely seek to exploit it. Trust is not a currency to be handed out freely, it is a valuable resource. Use it wisely and protect it fiercely. Something doesn't add up. The pressure to blindly follow someone else's lead can be overwhelming, but there's a crucial truth to remember: trust is not a blank check. It's something earned over time through consistent and concrete actions. If someone asks for your trust without offering proof or justification, it's a glaring red flag that something is amiss. Stoic philosophy reminds us to keep a clear mind and focus on what is within our control. When it comes to people demanding blind faith, your control is straightforward: walk away. Wisdom lies not in being swayed by empty promises but in seeking clarity and integrity. True peace, as the Stoics understood, comes from surrounding yourself with people and situations rooted in authenticity. The importance of consistency. When someone says, "Trust me," but their actions don't align with their words, it's a sign that something isn't right. Don't allow yourself to be drawn into a game of trust without evidence. Ask questions, seek transparency, and observe. People of character reveal their true selves without needing to hide behind excuses or vague reassurances. If someone fails to demonstrate that they are trustworthy, why should you give them the benefit of the doubt? Remember, trust is not a right, it's a gift you choose to bestow. Sometimes, the wisest decision is to step back, analyze the situation, and be selective about who earns your confidence. Don't let the pressure of those asking for your trust dictate your actions. As the Stoics would say, your inner peace depends on what you allow into your life. As Nelson Mandela aptly put it, it is not the one who demands trust but the one who offers it with integrity who shows true strength. 8. I won't hurt you. Picture this, you're sitting with a friend, enjoying a coffee, when they casually say, "Come on, don't be so serious, everyone does it. It's no big deal, nothing will happen to you." A little pressure here, a sprinkle of camaraderie there. Sound familiar? These scenarios are ethical traps disguised as friendship or teamwork. The subtle manipulation. People can be remarkably skilled at hiding their intentions. They often appeal to the notion that everyone does it, or reassure you that no harm will come from bending the rules. But deep down, you know it's not that simple. Frequently, what they're asking conflicts with your values, and giving in might lead you down a path you'd rather avoid. Their tactics are designed to exploit your sense of loyalty, making it seem like refusing would damage the relationship. But the reality is that true friends or colleagues don't pressure you to compromise your integrity, they respect your boundaries and principles. How to handle these situations? Recognize the red flags. If someone constantly urges you to let your guard down or dismisses your concerns as overthinking, take it as a warning sign. Stay firm in your values. Trust your instincts and remember that no friendship or collaboration is worth compromising your ethics. Communicate clearly. Let them know that their request doesn't align with your principles, and don't feel guilty for standing your ground. Stoicism teaches us the importance of living in accordance with our values, no matter the external pressure. You don't have to justify your decisions to those who try to manipulate you. Instead, focus on preserving your peace of mind and integrity. As Marcus Aurelius said, never let the actions of others compromise your sense of what is right. Stand firm, and don't let anyone convince you that your principles are negotiable. True strength lies in choosing what aligns with your inner values, regardless of external influences. How to spot these traps? Pay close attention to the context. Are you being asked to do something that contradicts your values or principles? If the answer is yes, it's likely a manipulation disguised as an opportunity. Evaluate the message. If someone is presenting something unethical or problematic as an irresistible chance, consider it a red flag. Reflect. Ask yourself whether this favor aligns with your core values or if it's an attempt to make you feel guilty for saying no. The Stoic insight. You can't control what others do, but you can control how you respond. That's where your true freedom lies. Instead of getting swept away by the current, take a moment to pause and reflect. Does this align with who you are and what you stand for? If it doesn't, don't hesitate to say no. A mental exercise. Visualize your inner peace and principles as a beautiful garden. Now imagine someone offering you an exotic but invasive plant that could harm your garden. Would you accept it without question? Likely not. The same applies to your decisions in life. Protect your garden, protect your peace. The power of choosing with integrity. When faced with these situations, remind yourself that the control is in your hands. Surround yourself with people who respect your boundaries and values, and distance yourself from those who try to manipulate you. True freedom comes from acting in alignment with your principles, not from succumbing to external pressures. As the Stoics would say, true strength lies not in following the herd, but in standing firm in your beliefs, even when others attempt to lead you astray. Misunderstood authority. Imagine engaging in a conversation only for the other person to dismiss your viewpoint with, "Don't question me." This phrase, often wielded to stifle dialogue, isn't just frustrating, it's a sign of a deeper issue, a misuse of authority. True authority doesn't demand blind obedience or use intimidation to silence dissent. Instead, it thrives on mutual respect, listening, and understanding. When someone insists on imposing their perspective without room for discussion, they're not exercising true power, they're revealing insecurity. How to respond? Recognize the trap. If someone uses phrases like "don't question me" to shut you down, understand this isn't an honest debate, it's an attempt to dominate. Set clear boundaries. Stay respectful but firm. A response like, "I understand your perspective, but I have the right to seek clarity," can assert your position without escalating conflict. Protect your mental space. Don't let frustration overwhelm you. Take a deep breath, assess whether this is a battle worth fighting, and if it's not, step away without guilt. Walk away when necessary. If the other person refuses to listen or engage in dialogue, the best decision is to walk away. There's no need to remain in a space where your voice isn't valued or respected. Your mental peace and dignity are far more important than winning an argument. True power is rooted in respect. The Stoics taught that external actions don't control us, it's our response to them that holds the real power. So, why let someone who disregards your autonomy disrupt your tranquility? As Marcus Aurelius might remind us, true authority isn't about silencing others but about leading with understanding and respect. Stand your ground, honor your values, and protect your peace.